I'm meteorologist Carly Gomez tracking the first of two warm winter storms moving through this weekend. The first one is starting just to come to an end into our Sunday morning, but we've seen quite the amount of rain already. As we get that close look, as of just after 2 p.m., a lot of areas in the valley getting drenched with rain. The downpours pushing up into the foothill spots and then finally bringing those snow flurries. And as of really about 9 p.m., we've started to see major impacts for the Sierra. Just after 7, a lot of multiple spinouts being reported up on I-80 there, and US 50 seeing some icy roads as well. Now we are seeing some partial closures and intermittent closures on 80 already, but what we have been also seeing is a lot of the downpours happening on and off throughout areas of the valley. We took a small break for a couple of hours around the Sacramento area right after about 6:30 p.m. And then finally now we're starting to see a little more of that rain arriving. We will continue to see some rain and heavy rain and downpours as of early Sunday morning. That's right around 4:30 a.m. before we get a little bit of a break. Now taking a look so far at the precipitation totals, just take a look at this. 0.6 of an inch since midnight. So that's 12:01 a.m. on your Saturday all the way up to about 9 p.m. You're seeing just over 0.6 of an inch for Sacramento, Auburn. This number not right for Placerville. I'm pretty sure something's up with the sensor there, but they should be closer to that half-inch mark already. Seeing about a half-inch in Oroville, Marysville, 1/4 of an inch in Stockton with a half-inch in Modesto. So these were spotty showers in and out of areas, but Sonora looking at almost 3/4 of an inch of rain. We do expect to get as much as 1/4 to a half-inch of rain through early Sunday morning, putting us just over an inch for many spots from the valley to the foothills. And this is just the beginning, because this is just the first storm system. The second is expected to be one that really brings in that punch and brings us that heavy rain with moisture. Now, the highs today were very warm out there, mid-60s in Stockton. The average this time of year is 54 degrees, 10 degrees warmer than average, 62 in Sacramento and Marysville. We saw the mid to upper 50s in the foothills and about 40 degrees for the high Sierra for the high today. So not freezing point, not being able to really hold that moisture in terms of snowfall for the high Sierra earlier today, but now finally seeing those temperatures dipping at and below freezing point, finally turning that rain to snowfall. Now the heavy downpours do continue tonight into the early morning hours. We are seeing very sloppy, wet Sierra snow. So this is dense snow that's now piling on top of already snow that's been there for a little while now. We're seeing some good snow, but underneath all of that are still those very weak layers. We know just last week we were looking at avalanche watches, and in fact avalanches being reported, and unfortunately one person did pass due to an avalanche. So this is a bit of a concern now as we're dealing with heavy wet Sierra snow, which is basically unstable conditions up high, as well as looking at very gusty winds. So gusty winds aren't just for the valley but the high Sierra as well, creating some whiteout conditions, especially in the overnight hours, and where we're seeing some of the heaviest snowfall combining, of course, with the gusty winds. All right, tracking the systems out. The low pressure system here, as you can see, Saturday night to Sunday morning is still pushing through. We're still getting a bit of a plume of moisture coming in with it at the tail end of the system. And finally, we get a little bit of a break. Right between the two systems here is about 4 to 5 hours of a window. You have about mid-morning hours to about mid-afternoon, 2-3 p.m. before we start to see some showers arriving with that second storm system. That'll push on shore closer to about 1:30, 2 o'clock for the San Francisco area, making its way in after about 4 p.m. for areas of the valleys and foothill spots where we're expecting to see some heavy downpours. That is because this second system here is going to be attaching itself to this huge plume, this atmospheric river, this huge moisture. Is going to be able to drag that up into the low pressure system, circulate that with it, and continue to drag it onshore. Meanwhile, this one was able to tap into an atmospheric river, just not containing quite as much moisture as you're seeing way out to sea. All right, let's talk about all the timing of this. As we move to 4:30 a.m., I mentioned we're going to see still some more heavy rain and downpours coming through. You can see that across most valley spots, pushing up into the foothills. And then the Sierra finally seeing some of this lower snow that we could see. Originally, we're right around 6,500 feet. This could drop to about just under 6,000 feet. I don't see it around 5,500. It's just not cold enough. But we are looking at around 6,000 feet in elevation for that snowfall. Anywhere at 7,000 feet and higher, we could see those higher snow totals, but between 6,000 and 7,000 feet, that's where we're looking at around 8 to 18 inches of snow through these two storm systems. Now, after all of this rain begins to pass through, that's where we get our small window here, closer to about 11 a.m. And then you're looking at 2 p.m., still looking at decent conditions, maybe a few stray showers, but not much, especially in the Sierra, looking better too. If you have plans to head home on Sunday, find that window, and that window is going to be a very small window for you. Leave right around 10 a.m. or so, and you have until 3 p.m. or so to get down the mountain and get back into the valley and avoid that heavy snow and those delays with traffic. You are looking at a lot of heavy rain just offshore there around 2 p.m. That'll start moving in around 4 for the valley and then hitting a lot of the Sierra spots around 5 o'clock or so, creating more snowfall and then probably closures, if not major traffic delays, by 6:30 p.m. on Sunday. The heavier stuff right after that. Notice how we're looking at a lot of that yellow, that orange shade. These are massive downpours that could even be triggering some thunderstorm chances, and that'll be moving onshore after 6:30 as we start to see that pushing into the valley spots, creating very heavy rain for us. Going to make it very difficult to drive. If you can get home before 6 p.m. and some of those downpours come down, you're going to avoid potential crashes, maybe swerving on the roadways, ponding out there, anything that's not really fun to even drive or be out in. So just kind of choose wisely your time, when to travel, when to do things. As we finally move into Monday afternoon and evening hours, we'll start to get just a few, maybe stray scattered showers. By night, we're already starting to clear out. We're getting the clouds moving out. And then Tuesday morning could see some development of early morning fog. Now, with all of this and everything I've just laid out, here are the watches and warnings for you. We are seeing a flood watch in effect until 4 a.m. for areas of runoff, ponding, as well as rising rivers, creeks, and streams. As you notice here, areas around Sacramento up into the foothills will be getting a lot of rain in a short amount of time. That rain is going to take some time to move through the drainage there, the pipes, the canals, kind of move its way down toward the valley. So that's where we could see some areas of those creeks and streams beginning to rise, especially around the Sacramento area. And this will be up in effect until 4 a.m. So a lot of that rain mostly coming in for your Sunday night into Monday. We do have a high avalanche danger here with the avalanche watch in effect until Sunday 7 a.m. But it could be as late, and I do expect this to be extended as late as Tuesday morning. We are looking at still strong winds through a lot of areas that could cause those weak layers underneath all of that piled up snow to begin sliding or collapsing. This is mostly going to be a concern for the backcountry areas where we're seeing that avalanche concern. So if you had plans to drive through some of those zones, I'd avoid it altogether as we are seeing some dangerous conditions. All right, talking now about the winter storm warning, this pink shade here, this again around 6,000 feet and higher is where we're going to see anywhere from 8 to about 16 inches, maybe up to 18 inches of snow, a little bit higher, 6,500 to 7,000 feet. But again, the range is around 6,000 to 7,000 feet where we're looking at that piling snow. Finally, with the wind gusts, 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts could be expected by Sunday afternoon, just as that cold front arrives, moves onshore. Even though it's a warm system, we're still saying cold front. But we are looking at the winds coming in out of the southeast. By 10:30 p.m., you're looking at very strong winds between the valley and the foothills here as it creates kind of a tunnel effect. So please be careful. Again, very strong winds moving in from the southeast. Could be as high as about 35 to 45 miles per hour as you look at the legend colors there in that pink and orange shade. Finally, moving into Monday, we're starting to see things slow down as well as Tuesday. All right, potential rainfall totals. As mentioned earlier, we've already seen about a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch of rain. Now, from around the 9 p.m. hour on Saturday all the way until Sunday night, we could get an additional ½ inch of rain for the valley and a 1/4 inch for areas like Stockton and Modesto, up to 3/4 of an inch near Auburn. Now add that all up and we move into Monday night, we could get as much as 1.5 inches to 2 inches of rain. So we're looking at about a total of 2 inches of rain for Sacramento, all said and done. A little more than that in the Auburn area, and more than 1 inch of rain for areas in the San Joaquin Valley. So a lot more rain again headed our way. It's going to be impactful. You're going to see localized areas, maybe neighborhood streets kind of flooding. Do what you can to kind of clear the sewage, the areas where the drains are, anything like that. Make sure it's not being blocked so you can get that out of your neighborhood as well. All right, looking at the European model, showing that the next storm system set to arrive is expected to bring anywhere from about a ½ inch to 6 inches to a foot of snowfall as we move from Emigrant Gap up to Donner. We could see about 14 inches near Bear Valley and just off 108. More heavy snowfall in that pink shade there, could be as much as 1 to 2 feet of snow. So we are looking at a lot of snow, but when you stretch that out over 4 days, it's really not that much. It's very wet, it's very dense snow, and it's higher in elevation, 6,000 feet. So we're not looking at the biggest storm impacts when it comes to the Sierra, but still very dangerous conditions heading up there, especially when it's very sloppy and wet snow. All right, taking a look here into your Wednesday. I know we're kind of jumping past the first 2 storms, but there's only one more. After this series of storms ends, you get a break on Tuesday. The next one coming in Wednesday with some scattered showers. This one not as big a deal. Mostly scattered showers, higher Sierra snowfall. Then it exits, and we are looking at partly cloudy skies moving toward next weekend and even some sunshine. So something to look forward to after we get through these storm systems. Temperature-wise, we're still seeing warm temps in the mid to upper 50s, low 60s in Ione, 41 in Truckee, 31 overnight. And then you're seeing for the Bay Area upper 50s and low 60s. For the Valley, you are looking at those temperatures still warm in the low 60s pretty much throughout to upper 50s. And with the 10-day forecast, that'll continue to bring temperatures pretty much the same for the next 5 days before we finally see an increase in temperature from the mid 60s, potentially to upper 60s from Sunday to Monday of next weekend, with even sunshine returning to the forecast.